The idea of kind of transitioning from an unhealthy mindset, I mean, to something that's a little bit more healthy. Because I feel like a lot of people out there hate their arts, or they get stressed about arts, and they have some negative mindset involving their own work, right? Like their work isn't good enough, that their work sucks, that their drawing sucks. Stuff like that, right? I feel like that's pretty common. I also think that you know that you're not really supposed to feel that way. You know that the quote correct way to feel is to be kinder to yourself and be more self-confident and acknowledge that while there are still places you can improve, your work isn't actually bad. That doesn't, like, you know that's quote correct, right? But then the tricky thing is like, okay, well, now that I know I want to be in this mindset, how do I get there? Well, maybe you think what I'm saying right now is just completely entirely wrong, and you think it is correct to loathe and despise your own work. And I feel like that applies for more than art, because I know for the vast majority of my life, I had very bad self-worth. I was very negative. Like, I actually had I was carrying so much self-loathing that every day I was just disgusted with who I was as a person. You need to acknowledge your failures and accept them to be able to improve. Being negative is good, yet in the good way. Yeah, because right now my current mindset, I think is pretty good. It's that I've kind of let go of my need to be good. Because I think I mentioned in my last YouTube video, it was about talent. I used to have this unhealthy need, this drive to be the absolute best in the world, which is, well, that's not really a possible task, but I needed to be, or else I would be like super, super depressed. From your own personal angle, a lot of hatred towards your own art comes from an even deeper perspective of self-hatred. Not receiving the support and recognition you require as a child can really make you believe that nothing you do is worth it. I think it's pretty common to have a family that's very, how shall we say, achievement-oriented, right? Parents that celebrate your achievements, but not your efforts. It doesn't matter if you tried really, really hard. If you failed, it was useless. If you didn't try at all but got a good result, then that's good. So you're never rewarded for trying, which means that you end up with the mindset that if you're bad at it, then you better not try because there's no point doing it. That's why it took me a long time to get over that kind of feeling. Do I talk to my psychiatrist about things other than meds? Yeah, I do sometimes, because she asks me how I'm doing. She's glad that my YouTube channel is doing well. How do you gain courage to tackle bigger projects and the desire to make things that stand out more? That's your current struggle personally. The courage to tackle bigger projects. What is it that's preventing you from taking on bigger projects? I generally get the sense that the fear of starting larger projects is the fear that you're not good enough to do them yet. But I think one thing that people have to realize is that you're never going to feel that like you're good enough for the project. I think most common one is like webcomics. Like, okay guys, when I get good enough at drawing hands, I'm gonna start my webcomic. No, wait, I'm not good at backgrounds. Okay guys, when I get good enough at drawing backgrounds, I'm gonna start my webcomic. Well, I mean, I could get a little bit better at drawing expressions first, then I can start my webcomic. No, wait, I want to make sure the characters are appealing, so I'm gonna learn character design first, and then I'll start my No, you're gonna feel that way forever. Just start the webcomic, start your big project, and use that project to improve. And if you don't do it well, don't worry. Just do a remaster later. Just do it. Start your webcomic and use your webcomic to practice drawing hands and faces and expressions. Then you can do your project and improve at the same time. That's even better, right? When are you good enough? You're never gonna be good enough. Work on your manga now. Fail faster. Exactly. But I'd like to circle back to thinking about having very negative self-worth, right? Because like I said, how do you go from like despising yourself and your work to being in a healthier place, right? How do you go from I hate myself to I like myself, right? That sounds like a really giant, impossible leap. Because going to someone with really bad self-worth and saying, hey, stop hating yourself, try liking yourself instead, is probably the most useless thing you could possibly say. Akin to telling a depressed person, hey, stop being so sad. Have you tried cheering up? It's not that bad. It's so useless, right? So meh is saying that you don't have any self-worth and nor do you need any, because ultimately, who gives a crap what you're good at? You just want to get better at art. The rest doesn't matter. So actually, meh is correct. The point is, you don't have to jump from I despise myself to I love myself right away. I think it's important to find intermediate steps. So I think Meh has moved from a spot of like despising their own work to realizing that my work is not as good as I want it to be, but I'm gonna harness this energy and, harness this self-loathing, harness this self-hatred to work on myself. In my opinion, no, there are happier ways to exist as a person, but that's okay. That's already a really, really good step up from just being paralyzed with self-loathing, right? So it's kind of like that, because I just want to explain like how I went from self-loathing to where I am now. I think one thing I realized, that one thing that really helped me was realizing that this self-loathing I carried, this ambition that I carried, wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, the way I perceive things, my kind of insane desire to be like the very best, it meant that I was always going to be dissatisfied. It meant that I was always going to be unhappy with where I was in life, and that I always wanted more. It was almost a greedy mindset. And it took me some time to just acknowledge that it's okay. If I want to pursue it like this, I am going to be unhappy sometimes. And that's okay. It's not wrong. It's not bad. I don't need to fix myself right away. I just need to accept that this is the way I am. For you, it was a long process. You took small steps to get to a point where you're happier. It's about slowly working on the parts of yourself you want to work on and having small victories lead to bigger ones. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. I think if I want to track my own mindset, right? Because first, like I said, I was full of self-loathing. Then I realized that, hey, I could use this jealousy and envy to better myself. And then I moved on to, okay, it's actually okay to feel this way. And I think in around 2022, that was when I was seriously starting to consider that my art was good enough to work as a professional. And that just adds so much more pressure and stress on the whole pursuit of art. Honestly, hitting the point of so annoyed with his feelings that you just move forward fueled by spite and rage helped you the most. But therapy helped you learn to see paths forward. Yeah, actually, I was at the same point. I feel like a lot of people manage to get to the point where they're like, all right, I am so angry and so jealous, and I have all these ugly feelings inside of me, but then you stop letting it paralyze you, and you use that energy, because it's a lot of negative energy, but it is energy to move forward. So I think I was talking about when I was trying to quit art sometime in 2022, and I think not only when it comes to changing your mindset, it's not only taking baby steps that's important, right? Not only just going from I hate myself to at least going to I okay myself, right? You can't go from I hate myself to I love myself, but also reframing it in a way that kind of makes sense to you and what's important to you. People telling me to slow down, be patient, you don't have to be good right away. That really wasn't working for me because I was in a rush, right? But what helped me reframe the pursuit of art into something to help me really slow down and be patient and not be in a rush was just realizing exactly how much time it takes to get good at art. And that all the people I admired have probably spent at least 10 times more time working on art than I have, and really understanding that. And it didn't really click right away for me because I thought, well, I don't care if they spent 10 times the amount of practice and study on this. I want to be as good as them anyway without all of that practice. But then I realized, wait, if I actually want that, doesn't that mean I just think I'm a genius and I'm upset that I'm a genius? I'm just upset that I'm not a genius, and I'm just upset that I have to do work? Sounds a little childish, actually. Is that really why I'm upset? And it kind of was. And I think it was only when I made that realization that I was able to really learn to be more patient and be okay with taking my time. I wish I was a genius, but I'm very much not.